Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome once again. Welcome to the sessions of Foundations. Smriti ma'am, good evening. Smriti ma'am, you're on mute.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, I was not able to unmute myself. It says the host has enabled it.
Okay.
Yeah, now it's fine. Good evening, Himani.
Good evening, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good. How have you been?
I am also good, ma'am. Thank you. I'll just take my host rights. Okay, host.
Himani, do we know that these are all the teachers have attended the earlier sessions or not?
No, ma'am. Can we quickly, teachers, can we quickly get a hand, raise of hands, a show of hands? If you've attended the previous lesson planning session with Smriti ma'am, a quick
Yeah.
show of hands.
Just hands, thumbs ups, anything will do.
Ma'am, there's a request if we can be bilingual today. So we'll try and be bilingual.
Bilingual in what? Hindi and English?
Hindi and English. ma'am.
Hindi and English is fine. अभी
No,
तमिल
ma'am,
एंड
Marathi.
तमिल एंड इंग्लिश बोलते तो फिर मैं बोलती अच्छा आई एम गोइंग बाय सही हो
जब मराठी और इंग्लिश बोलते तो हम लोग बाय बाय कर लेते
हाँ तब मैं तो तब भी बाय बाय कर देती हिंदी इंग्लिश इज ओके बट एनी अदर लैंग्वेज रीजनल लैंग्वेज एंड इंग्लिश बोलते तो फिर देन आई वुड हैव सेड अच्छा ठीक है चलो मैं जा रही हूँ बाय बाय हिमानी विल टेक द सेशन
नहीं, Hindi and English.
okay done
So, ma'am, mostly people have attended.
yeah you got the answers from them
Yes. So
awesome
we have in the chat box, we have a lot of thumbs up and hand raises.
okay
So we know that a couple of people have attended.
super cool
All right, it's exactly 5 by my clock. And once again, everybody, welcome to this session. We'll not wait a lot. So as always, we'll begin sharp at 5 with all your questions, all your queries, all your doubts, and the interactive session by Smriti ma'am. We always extend our time. So we'll not.
we always extend our time. So we can't wait for everybody to join in. But there are very few participants that I can see right now.
So I have about 10 more in the waiting room, which I've just admitted.
Okay. So basically we are good to go. Then they can just keep joining in, yeah?
They'll keep joining.
All right, done.
So ma'am, do you have the co-host rights? Anything.
Okay.
Before we begin, a lot of people who said that we've attended the session, can we get some pointers in the chat box? Meanwhile, people are joining in also. What do you remember from last session?
Absolutely, that is what my first thing was.
So what do we remember from the previous time session? Anything, any small point, big point, anything.
Yeah, anything. One small point also will be very good. So what was the previous sessions all about, or what do you remember from that? What was the takeaway? Anything will do.
Yes, quickly. Whatever you remember, we've done lesson planning before. On the request of everybody, this is the second session that we'll be hosting on lesson planning. What do you remember? I've not got any messages in the chat box.
Then I'm not taking the session, Himani, if they don't remember anything.
They don't remember, correct? Even I would not want this session, ma'am. If they don't remember anything, it's just they come, they listen and they go.
Yeah, then that's not done. Because each session is a result of the previous session. Is from the previous learning, we go to the next learning. And when we talked about the first session was about curriculum planning. From curriculum planning, we went to lesson planning. And today it is an advanced session of lesson planning when we say outcome-based lesson planning. So if you do not remember of the past, then it will be very difficult for me to take an advanced lesson. Then I'll have to go back to the earlier one.
This saying planning according to Bloom's taxonomy, lesson plan should be done before. And what else? I'm left at hand by someone. Activities to be planned with their materials to get better outcome. Planning with the fun way of teaching. Okay. Something technical to remember. We talked about 5 things, which was the difficulty from the NCF. All skills should be involved. Good.
Yeah, that's nice.
Think. Sometimes, it's a good idea to take 2 minutes to just think.
Yeah, very
And
good
not-
idea.
So you should always, it's okay. Let's give it a thought. Let's give something to our brains to work on. More and more of skills oriented. So everybody remembers only skills.
Ayo.
Bloom's taxonomy.
Bloom's taxonomy I didn't do last time.
Learning outcomes should be emphasized and prepared. Sanskrit name. Yes, there was a Sanskrit name. Okay.
They
Good.
must be referring to the Panchakoshas.
Panchakosha. Nature teaches us more. Okay. That was a different session.
Nature was a different session. That was by Nina ma'am.
Nina, ma'am. Developmental domain. Okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
What else? 6 areas of development classrooms for young children. Okay. Think. See, that is why it's very, very important to implement every time we end the session on this note, to implement a couple of things in your classrooms. It's very important.
It's very
Till
important.
the time you don't implement, it's all hearsay. You listen, you go back and you forget. जैसे ही हम यहाँ से सेशन खत्म करते हैं, सब ये चाय बनाने जाते हैं या खाना बनाने जाते हैं, और बस वो खाने के तड़के में रह जाता है सब कुछ. Story telling method.
Yeah, because see, what happens is that if you're not implementing, no, you will also not come up with new queries. Because once you implement, then I want to know what happened once you implemented, or you are trying to make a curriculum. Then, what difficulties did you face? Was it fine? Did it help you in any way? Now, what are the new queries? Because in case you don't come with new queries, then I'll keep taking the same things over and over again. So boring, na? You
Same
listen to
things
the same
over,
things.
and it's not helpful, and you're just spending another hour on doing the
Yeah.
same thing. Even that certificate is meaningless then.
But then that is what they all want now. At the end of the session, they're like hounding Himani like anything, like mera certificate, mere ko nahi mila. So that is what it ends up to be. But it's not about the certificate. You collect 10 certificates, but if you've not implemented anything or you've not learned anything, it doesn't mean anything.
Implementation must be there. That's so true, Bharti ma'am. Conservation, storytelling, toy-based learning. All right. So from here, the first lesson that we take today is that if you're not applying it and if you're not planning it, you won't get anything out of it. There is just you collecting up certificates. It's like collecting up newspapers. Every morning we collect another set of newspaper.
Yeah.
And then nothing happens. Imagine anyone who has a PhD but doesn't know much or doesn't want to talk much. When he talks, it doesn't have any value add to it.
And I tell you, I know a lot of those people.
Me too. I know so many. They're PhDs, they're doctors, they're engineers. But when you talk to them, they're like, And then I know a dentist who'll say, my family also, they'll say कि दांत देख लेंगे और फिर बोलेंगे कि एक बारी ना डेंटिस्ट को दिखा लेना. So now you want to be that kind of a teacher. जो बोले एक बारी ना अच्छे स्कूल से पढ़ा लेना.
हमसे नहीं होगा.
हमने सुना था कुछ ऐसा. हमसे ना हो पाएगा.
हमसे ना हो पाएगा भाई. हमने बहुत सारे कुछ पढ़ी, बहुत डिफिकल्ट था, अब हमें कुछ समझ नहीं आया, अब हम किसी और स्कूल में चले जाओ. ऐसा बोलोगे अपने पेरेंट्स को, नहीं बोलोगे ना. So that is because I did in my first session, I told you, you people have to first thing believe in yourself as specialist. If you're becoming a specialist, if you're becoming an early childhood educator, you have to be a specialist, because we are dealing with human life. You cannot not know. It's not done. And if you're not implementing and if you're actually not correcting what you are doing, so if you're doing a curriculum and you're doing some activities in your school, and after attending the session, if you don't go ahead and correct it, or you enhance it, not even correction, in case you're doing everything right, well and good, but you enhance it with your new learnings. If you don't do that, then there's no point in actually attending these sessions for such a long time.
Very true. And ma'am, one answer is very good, with which we can take a start off by Berwin Tressa. She says VUCA word concept.
All right.
That was perfect. With this, thank you so much, ma'am. And I'm so glad that you're there and you remember this important part from there. If anybody remembers the full form of VUCA, the chat box will be open, and I'll keep taking answers on that. And in the meanwhile, with all my good wishes and all my intent to get you learning, over to Smriti ma'am for the second round of lesson planning for foundational years.
All right. Thank you so much, Himani. Now we go to outcome based. Now, what is the outcome? Chalo, jaldi say. You know, you have to use the chat box if you're on my session. So what is an outcome? Why outcome based lesson planning? We did lesson planning, na? So why outcome based?
Smriti ma'am, you'll just have to unmute yourself once more.
Ha, sorry. So,
result. Ma'am, first answer is result. Result. Some more results.
Result. Outcome is a result. Okay.
Expected result.
Expected. Acha, very good. Outcome is an expected result. All right.
What needs to be achieved?
Okay.
Aims and results obtained.
Okay.
Whether the objective is achieved or not, students' views, we can get to know how much child is learning, the way a thing comes out, how much we and students have understood, efforts we have given, students' views.
Okay.
Objectives of teaching.
All right.
Yeah.
No, okay, fine. That's good. So we are almost on the same page, but not quite. I will ask you this question again after the session and be prepared with your answer. So listen carefully and attend carefully. Take down your notes, very important. And I hope you all have your notebooks and pens ready with you. If you don't have it, then bring it because I'm going to give you an exercise today. And that activity, you have to do it and you have to show it to us. All right. So ready for today?
All set.
Let's go. So outcome-based lesson planning. So when we talk about outcomes, that's a learning outcome that we are talking about here. And learning outcomes is for the learners. But objectives when we talk about. So objectives are for both teaching and learning. But outcomes are basically for the learners. So because they are learning outcomes. Now, what would you base your learning outcomes on? Another question for all of you. So how do you decide on an outcome? This was done in the previous session. So let's see. And if anybody also remembers the full form of VUCA, please go ahead and write it in the chat box. That was already there. What will you base your outcomes on? So the learning outcomes, they're for the students, right? They're for the children. So what will you base your learning outcomes on? How would you decide on a learning outcome? That's the first thing. Am I getting any answers? Okay, I don't think so. Based on our teaching terms, learning done by the students, asking question. All right, answers given, work done, activity based. So, but what will you base your learning outcome on? How would you define a learning outcome for a particular age group? Suppose a play school child. When child connects his learning things with the real world, okay, students are able to understand everything clearly. That outcome is for the teacher. That's teacher's objective, that the teacher has to know that the students can understand everything clearly. When children are going to learn after a particular, what children are going to learn after a particular topic. Yes, what children are going to learn after a particular topic is the learning outcome. All right, Ms. Lavanya. Lavanya said milestones, curriculum, and what we want for them to achieve. All right, age of the learner, on the basis of age of the learner, on the skills to be achieved, reading, writing, speaking. Fine. All right. So we are there, almost there. So what happens is you have to base your learning outcomes on the age appropriateness. How would we know that? On the basis of milestones. Milestones are what? And divided into what? It is into the learning domains or the developmental domains, right? And I think we did about the learning and the developmental domains earlier on also. We'll do it right now also. So first and foremost, a revision. This is a recap. We should always take our students from the known to the unknown. What we have done earlier, we have to do a recap. Then we go forward. Like in the beginning of the session, we got to know that so many of you do not remember what we have done. So we'll always take a recap first. So what is a curriculum? Curriculum is standards-based sequence of planned experiences. Always think of that way, not planned activities. It is planned experiences where students practice and achieve proficiency. That means that's your learning objective, teaching objective, that they should achieve proficiency, okay, in content, and then applied learning skills. Now, these learning skills are what we are talking about as learning outcomes, okay? And we had done this earlier, but then play is the most important part of the curriculum. And please remember the part in the red. There are 58 skills organized under 6 content areas for early childhood education. So do not think that what we are teaching them about the names of the animals, plants, vegetables, fruits, etc., we are done with it. We are not. How about, do you know about the 58 skills that are organized? They are the key developmental indicators, KDI. So key developmental indicators. These indicators tell us whether the child is developing, learning as per his or her age. And what are those skills? And what are those 6 content areas? Now, 6 content areas are mainly the 6 domains, under which how can we organize 58 skills? Because these 58 skills are only going to give you your learning outcomes. Okay? It is nothing else that can give you your learning outcomes for early years. Developmental domains, you all remember? Hello, quickly put it up.
How many developmental domains are there, first of all?
हाँ, and just जल्दी से उसका name अगर किसी को पता है तो hurry up, फटाफट put it down.
GMS, FMS?
GMS, FMS, gross motor skills, fine
Gross
motor
motor,
skills.
fine motor skills,
They're
okay.
skills. देखो आप खुद लिख रहे हो ना, S at the end, it's skills.
There are
Not
6
domains.
domains.
There are
Somebody
6
said
domains. Very good. Khushbu Saluja. 6 domains. Very good. LSRW are again not domains.
physical development.
1. Very
Okay.
good.
1 down. 5 more to go. Numeracy, social, kinesthetic, physical, emotional, cognitive.
Cognitive
is
2
second.
down. Chalo. Cognitive and physical. 2 aa gaye. Language. Okay,
Socio-emotional.
Okay, 4 down.
Still 2 more to go. Aesthetic, creative.
Creative and aesthetic together. Chalo, 1 more down. Now last left.
Last to left.
Last 1 only, Mani. We take creative
last.
and aesthetic also, so 1 only. Now 1. Come on, 1. Which is your 1?
Self-awareness, intellectual. Cognitive में आ गया मैम को.
हाँ, वो cognitive में आ गया. और self awareness socio-emotional में आ गया. Those are the skills under the domains. Those 58 key indicators, those are the ones.
Communicative, spiritual.
Ayyo. Intelligences पे चली गई. Okay, so you don't remember. I know you don't remember. I'm very sure. चलो 1 by 1 फिर से देख लेते हैं.
Affective, linguistic, creative. Creative is done, ma'am.
Creative is done.
Language is also done, I guess.
Language is also done.
Ethical. Environment.
Ethical development.
Environment development, mental development, intellectual development, self-help skills.
Ayyo, ठीक है. सब skills है. See, first and foremost,
Emotional, socio-emotional development, ma'am, done.
Done. That was done earlier. Now listen. Have an understanding about skills and domains. Skills will come under domains. What did we see in the last slide? There's 6 content areas, like 6 developmental domains. Okay. Under that, we have these skills. All of you are mostly listing the skills, not the domains. So the first icon has come on board, cognitive development. And after cognitive, along with cognitive, what has come into the head? A heart. That means socio-emotional development. This one, physical development. This is the one that you have not remembered. So you see this icon and remember now. This is called approaches to learning. What is it called? Chalo ratinge abhi. Rote learning. Cognitive, socio-emotional, then physical, approaches to learning, communication and language, and creative and aesthetic development. Now, these are the 6. Okay? You got the 6 domains. Under these 6 domains, we have a lot of skills. So you people, whatever skills people were listing down, they will come under these. Now see, in the developmental domain, you will have these broader skills. These are the broader skill areas under each developmental domain. They are the 6 learning areas, the 6 developmental domains for early childhood education and development. And these are the broader skills in them. Iske under there are many more finer skills. 58 key indicators, no? Those 58 we will see. But right now you see the broader ones. So cognitive development is the one which is in charge of your math, science, problem solving, critical thinking, experimentation, scientific and logical thinking. So whenever you were talking about numeracy, you were talking about science, or you were talking about problem solving, all these are coming under cognitive development itself. Then comes language development, which has 2 parts. One is communication and other is language. Now, what is communication and what is language? Do you remember from the last session? Any one of you? If you want to answer, you can unmute yourself and also answer. You remember? No?
You don't remember?
No, they don't.
Language, interactive language is reading and writing, aesthetic.
Miss Lavanya is right. Language is reading and writing. What about communication? What is communication?
What is communication? Is listening and speaking.
Good. Communication is listening and speaking. Very good.
Lavanya ma'am is listening carefully. She's thinking.
Very carefully. Yeah. Absolutely. I agree. 2 certificate dena Himani inko. Okay?
Correct.
Okay. So in language development, when you talk about listening, speaking, reading, and writing, listening and speaking comes under communication. That is, I do not need formal training in any language. Like right now, I tell you, okay, you learn a language. Okay, you learn Mandarin for Chinese, or you learn Spanish, or you learn French. That is formal language training. But when I tell you to communicate, right now we are communicating. आपस की बातचीत, घर पे जो बच्चा सीख रहा है, जो उसके मदर टंग, मैंने बोला था मदर टंग, फादर टंग, नेबर्स टंग, रीजन्स टंग, सर्वेंट्स टंग, टीचर्स टंग, all that what the child is listening to and is able to understand and speak is all communication. They're communicating. Now communication can also be of 2 types. पता है कौन से? Verbal and non-verbal. Now what are verbal and non-verbal? Verbal matlab bol ke, and non-verbal matlab without speaking. Without speaking, how can we communicate? Jaldi se on the chat box. And you have to be very fast. We don't have time. Otherwise, we'll be sitting here till 8 p.m.
Signs, gestures, expressions, language, actions and expressions, gestures.
So very good.
Actions.
Clap for yourself. Very good, very good. Expressions, gestures, your communication. When the children do not have words, how do they communicate? If they want water, they'll point at water. They'll cry. They will say, they will do some gestures. They will make some sounds. So you have to understand the verbal and the non-verbal communication with children who are so young, right? How does a newborn baby communicate that they're hungry to the mother? Everybody knows, because they cry. When they're crying, they're uncomfortable. They're crying for a reason, right? And then you understand it. So verbal, non-verbal communication and language, LSRW, very important. Physical development has somebody had written gross motor skills, fine motor skills, GMS, FMS. Gross motor skills, fine motor skills. So these are skills. They come under physical development. It also includes your sensory motor stage. Sensory motor stage is from the birth till the age of 2 years. When everything the child wants to understand, know from their senses. They will touch everything. They will put everything in the mouth. So mouth, the tongue, the taste, their sensories. The senses are activated at that time. So they said sensory motor stage. They want to feel everything. They want to touch everything. And we always keep telling them, don't touch, don't touch. Never say that to a child. They have to understand things through senses. Then is health and self-care. Now, these are the things that you teach them. These are formal ones. Now, in physical development also, there is something that is natural and there's something that is formal. In language, also there's something that's natural, communication, and there's something that is formal, that is language teaching. Okay? So, understand these things and understand the differences between them. Creative and aesthetic development. Again, is visual arts, performing arts, and art appreciation. When we talk about art appreciation, you see some paintings in somebody's room, you see some sceneries and you say, wow, this is beautiful. Now you're appreciating art, right? The children also have that thing. Only thing is that we don't develop it in our schools. Once you put up your boards in the classroom with the children's work, have them look at it, have them appreciate it. Ask them which one do you like the best? Which color do you like the best? So art appreciation is very important and it should start at a young age. Okay, visual arts is all about your drawing, coloring, painting, anything that you do on paper. Okay, and performing arts is your music, dance, creative movements, musical instruments, listening to music, all these things. When it's combined together, it comes under performing arts. Creative and aesthetic development done, then we come to approaches to learning, the domain that you forgot. Very important in the 21st century. Now, very, very important. Why? Because the children already have a lot of information and they're naturally developing and they're naturally gaining a lot of knowledge, like I told you. There's something that you don't have to teach them. They already know. But when they have to do an activity very productively, yeah, when they are giving their best inputs. When are you productive? जब आप कोई काम बहुत अच्छे से कर रहे हो या अपने जो आपको दिया गया उससे ज्यादा कर रहे हो, that's productivity. जैसे फैक्ट्री में बोलते प्रोडक्शन कितनी हुई, मतलब कितना बढ़ा काम, आप कितना एक काम को आप कितने तरीके से कर सकते हो. हाउ प्रोडक्टिव एज ए चाइल्ड. आपने उसको 1 ब्लॉक का सेट दिया बट वो उससे 10 थिंग्स कर सकता है. So that is a productive child. So that one thing, initiative. You start with one activity or you just tell them that we are going to do this. There will be children who are going to take that initiative. They're going to go forward. They're going to say, हाँ, मेरे को भी करना है. I also want to do this. I want to try this. Mixing colors, when you're mixing colors, they want to do it themselves. They're going to take initiative. They're very curious. So the curiosity is very big factor. If the child is not curious, they're not learning anything. If you're not curious about learning about lesson planning, you will not be here. तो पता करना है ना, हमें नहीं पता, हमें पता करना है कि क्या हुआ और कैसे हुआ. So that's curiosity. Then is persistence. That is, if I'm not getting it right, or if the task is difficult, slowly but steadily do I finish it. Okay, do I finish the given task? That's persistence. कितना भी टाइम लगे लेकिन मुझे ये खत्म करके ही उठना है. That kind of a child is a persistent child. And then last is resilience. Resilience gives you a growth mindset. Growth mindset means what? I didn't get it right the first time. I'll do it again in a different way. Then I'll again do it. I'll again do it till the time I don't get it right. So don't get confused between persistence and resilience. Most of the people do. Maximum teachers get confused between that. Persistence is that I want to complete my work. Whatever work has been given to me, I will persist at it till the time I don't complete it. मुझे खत्म करके ही उठना है. Even if you will tell them ना चलो ये कल कर लेना, वो बोलेंगे नहीं मैं कभी finish करना. Okay, persistent child. But when you talk about resilience, resilience is that I'm not getting it the right time. Have you seen shape sorters? वो बड़ा सा बॉक्स होता है उसके ऊपर शेप्स बने होते हैं, देन बच्चों को ब्लॉक्स डालने होते हैं उसके अंदर, राइट शेप राइट ब्लॉक्स में डालेगा तभी अंदर जाएगा. That kind of a thing is resilience. If they don't get it right the first time, then they'll try again. Then they don't get it right the second time, they didn't try again in different ways. Blocks ko ghuma ke, dusra block la ke. So that's resilience. So approaches to learning is very important, teachers, because if approaches to learning is not there, learning will not happen. Okay. Then personal, social, and emotional development. Why personal? Why not only social emotional? Because it starts with self. It starts with self-awareness. First, I have to be aware about myself. First, I have to manage myself. Then only I can go out into the world. If I do not know how to label my own emotions, if I do not understand my own self, my own choices, my own body, my own nature, I'll never be able to gel with another person. Okay. So that is why first is self-awareness, personal development. Then is social development. That is me interacting with my peer group, other adults, anyone in my surrounding. And then is complete emotional development. Now, emotional development is a little tricky because there I understand emotions. मैंने सब emotions को label किया, happy, sad, scared, everything. I know now what emotions are, but then how do I manage them? What do I do when I feel like crying, when I'm very sad, very upset? What do I do? Do I shout? Do I throw tantrums? Do I lie down on the floor? Do I raise my hands? And what do I do when I am actually upset? That's emotional development where the child can manage emotions. Okay. How will you teach that? That is through your lesson planning also. Activities based on that. So these will have different skill areas that you have to address when you're doing your lesson planning and your curriculum development. Clear till now? Any questions? Any inputs?
Ma'am, there was a question. So Lavanya ma'am only said, but there's a general thought which says that if they touch fire, then you have to tell them now.
Yeah, of course. I'm not talking about, see, there is one kind of a thing where you have to always keep in mind the safety hazards. Okay. या ऐसा नहीं बोल सकते कि हाँ बच्चे को हाथ जलाने दो तभी तो उसको पता चलेगा फायर ऐसा होता है. No, don't do that. That's not what I meant. What I meant was that when they are going across shops or they're inside the school, they're touching their toys. When they're inside the house, they want to see, feel, touch everything. At that time, when we tell them, no, that's not the actual idea. But if they're putting their hand in the fire, they're going to touch the warm iron. अभी हमने आयरन करने के लिए कपड़े आयरन गरम किया उसको बच्चा टच करना चाहेगा तो मना ही करेंगे. Why? Because this is something that you're teaching the child, that it is harmful for them. Okay, it will hurt them. That understanding the children don't have. That you will have to give. Okay, there the role of the adult comes in. Any other questions?
No, so far I had just this one.
Okay.
Rest everybody's saying no, ma'am, all clear.
Okay, very good. So you see, every session now I tap my back and say, I've done a good job. No questions. Everything is so clear and make them understand it so beautifully. Then second time, no, I have this query. सब सो तो नहीं गए थे? ठीक है? So please.
That's why we ask all clear or all clear.
All clear. All clear इधर से नहीं करना. हाँ, all clear मतलब understanding should be clear. So don't worry about that thing. हाँ, otherwise I will think कि अच्छा सब सो गए. I'm just talking to myself. ये मुझे तो पता है, मेरा ही PPT है. So don't worry. हाँ, I don't want to learn that. Okay. Now when we were talking about skills and I was telling you the broader aspects. Now see, where does approaches to learning come? कहाँ घुस गया ये आके? Cognitive development में. मैंने तो अभी बोला एक दूसरा डोमेन है. फिर इसमें कैसे आ गया? Anyone has any answers? No answers. मैम हमें तो cognitive ये approaches to learning ही नहीं पता था. हमें क्या पता आपने cognitive में क्यों डाला है? और डाला होगा तो ठीक ही डाला होगा. हमें नहीं पता. Right? That's the answer.
It's a mental skill.
It is a mental skill. Productivity, resilience, persistence is a mental skill. It is a different domain because we have to develop it. But it is all related to the mind. So it is all cognitive development only. It's intellectual development which will lead to it. So cognitive development has your maths, has your science. Science means EVS, which later on becomes your biology, physics, and chemistry when it branches out. But all your science, that is scientific thinking, mathematical thinking, and approaches to learning. These are the broader skills of cognitive development. Okay. Then we go to physical development. Like I had already told you, gross motor skills, fine motor skills, sensory motor skills, and health and wellness. Very important. You have to tell and teach your children what is good for their health, what is good for their body, how do they take care of themselves. Don't we teach them how to brush your teeth, have a bath every day, wear clean clothes? These kind of things are always taught to children under EVS. Okay, most of you must be having these chapters or worksheets in EVS, but actually it is doing what? It is a part of the body. It is a part of the physical development of children. Okay, so it will come under physical development. Then language and literacy development, LSRW, you all know it, so I'm not going to delve into it. Abhi abhi humne baat kiya, communication and language. Listening and speaking, reading and writing. Reading and writing is formal. And reading and writing starts with pre-reading skills and pre-writing skills. So straight away you give a book to the child will not be able to read. And then you will not be successful as a teacher. So it's pre-reading and pre-writing skills, which begins in the play group, which will develop the child for 2 years, pre-reading and pre-writing for preschool and for nursery. And then in junior KG, when the child is 4.5, that time actual formal reading and writing starts. There has been so many questions put to me, and I always say, make it a point to say it in all my sessions, that your writing cannot start in nursery. Only patterns with crayons or only kind of, coloring is something, or doodling, scribbling, freehand drawing, other pre-writing things that you can give in nursery, but not actual formal writing or writing capital letters. कि हम कैपिटल लेटर लिखाते हैं, हम नंबर्स लिखाते हैं 1 to 10, वो लिखवाना is a very big major flaw for the developmental domain, because children's fine motor skills are not that developed to hold a pencil or to hold a pencil grip and then write within the given space, the squares or the 4 lines. They cannot do that. So if you're making them do that, then you are going against the science, against the developmental domains and the developmental stage. So don't do that.
Ma'am, a lot of teachers, argue this with saying that हमारे बच्चे लेकिन कर लेते हैं. They've been doing for so many years and they're
I
able
know.
to do.
अभी मैं बताऊं आपको, कर लेते हैं ना, तो that is they are exhausting, you're exhausting them. कि जो बच्चे नर्सरी में लिख लेते हैं और उनके पेरेंट्स उनको पेजेस पे पेजेस या टीचर्स पेजेस पे पेजेस लिखवाते हैं, अगर आपके स्कूल में वो बच्चे थे और अभी अगर वो 2nd 3rd स्टैंडर्ड में है, so go and see them and go and ask their teachers, do they love writing? Are they writing well? Are their handwriting good? See, आप short term नहीं सोच सकते हो. You are an early childhood educator. You're basically laying the foundation. And if you're not doing it developmentally appropriately, then what will happen is the child will be harmed at the end of it. End देखना है, beginning नहीं देखना है. Beginning आपको milestones बताएंगे. So please go by the beginning, where the milestones is telling you where the child has to write or read or have formal education. Do not go by कि कर लेते हैं. This is the learning age of the child. The child would be able to do any number of things. अभी तो वो चलना, बोलना, vocabulary, jumping, hopping, skipping, अपना खाना खुद खाना, बटन लगाना, सब कुछ सीख रहा है. ठीक है ना? So at that time ही अगर आपने उसको पेंसिल पकड़ा दिया तो वो पकड़ लेगा. आप उसको सिखा रहे हो जबरदस्ती, मतलब सिखा रहे हो, वो कर भी लेते हैं अच्छे से, ठीक है. But always have, research has found out that the children who are given the pencil at an early age hate writing, and they suffer in the primary and the middle school. So writing or any kind of learning for that matter, when we say play, when we say joy, when we say fun for the children, it should be that. Is writing a joy or a fun for your child? If not, then you're doing something wrong. Otherwise, it will be. Anything new the child is learning, they would love it. Have you seen children how a crayon जब उनको आ जाता है पकड़ना, they will go scribbling everywhere, wall पे, table पे, floor पे, सब जगह, because they love it. Anything new that they learn, they want to do it. But for how long? And then writing is a forceful exercise.
Ma'am, they're saying that we can't argue with syllabus makers. Oshima ma'am, one thing that I would like to add here is that's where we began foundational session. With the foundational years coming out with NCF, they have actually cut down on all of this.
Yeah, you just refer to your NEP and NCF. That is the standard guidelines given by the government and the Education Ministry of India. So to your syllabus makers, to your organization's heads and trustees, or whoever is planning the curriculum, or whoever is telling you to make the children write, you can definitely tell them and show them what is written in the guidelines. You can show that to the parents also. Earlier I was interacting with one of the school owners, and she was in Karnataka. She said, "Ma'am, अगर मैं ऐसे लिखवाऊंगी नहीं तो मेरे तो admissions ही चले जाएंगे, because there are so many other schools who are making them right. So parents come to me and tell me कि अगर आप nursery में लिखवाते ही नहीं हो तो हमें आपको admission नहीं चाहिए. But what if you tell them कि हाँ हम nursery में आपके बच्चे को लिखवा देंगे, but it's going to be hampering their studies later on. वो बाद में लिखना नहीं चाहेगा. What if you tell them that? No parent would want to harm their children. The only thing is क्योंकि हमारे पास right arguments नहीं होते.
And conviction नहीं होता मैम.
Conviction नहीं होता है. हम खुद ही convince नहीं है. आप convinced हो, पहले तो आप अपनी बात करो. As a teacher, as an educator, अगर आप convince नहीं हो तो आप तो किसी को convince कर ही नहीं सकते हो. You cannot convince anybody. If I am convinced, I can convince others also. Right now, I am against writing in nursery, so I can convince anybody you give me. Any syllabus maker, any organization head, any parent you give me, I can make them understand why writing is bad for the children in nursery. So you have to be convinced, and you have to convince the others that this is harmful. Like I told you, this is research. Research has shown it. And if you want to do your own research, you can go ahead and do that.
Ma'am, they've already done that research. If you'll ask a lot of schools, a lot of parents will tell you कि KG में बहुत अच्छा था मैम, A grade लेके आता था, 5th में पता नहीं इसको क्या हो गया, इसके फ्रेंड्स खराब हो गए, ये वाली टीचर अच्छी थी,
अब ये पढ़ता नहीं है, इसको टीचर नहीं अच्छी लगती, इसको स्कूल नहीं अच्छा लगता है तो स्कूल जाना ही नहीं चाहता है, होमवर्क नहीं करता. पता है क्यों? क्योंकि हमने इतना स्ट्रेस दिया था अर्ली चाइल्डहुड एजुकेशन पे, उसी समय इतना काम करा दिया था. I know of children who are going for tuitions in nursery, junior and senior KG. क्या कराएंगे ट्यूशन वाले? डेवलपमेंटल स्टेज है. Do they do the activities there? नहीं. एक एक बुक लेके रखा है और उसको बोल रहे हैं ये पढ़ो बैठ के, भरो बैठ के. एंड वो पेरेंट्स को दिखाते हैं कि देखिए आज हमने 4 पेजेस लिखवा दिया. पेरेंट खुश, ट्यूशन टीचर के पास पैसे आ रहे हैं, बट बच्चे का क्या? What are you doing to the child? So if this is a research thing, it is a proven thing. आपको ये बात करनी पड़ेगी सबसे, जिससे भी करनी है. प्ले स्कूल एंड नर्सरी ओनली प्री राइटिंग स्किल्स. अब जैसे आप ऐसे भी कन्विंस कर सकते हो पेरेंट्स को, सबको, कि हम राइटिंग तो कराते हैं लेकिन हम प्री राइटिंग स्टेज कराते हैं, जिससे कि वो बहुत अच्छा लिखे जूनियर सीनियर में, और उसके बाद वो राइटिंग कंटिन्यूड रहे प्राइमरी स्कूल तक और मिडिल स्कूल तक. सो प्री राइटिंग कराइए. There's so many pre-writing activities and they're beautiful ones. उससे बच्चे को लेटर का फॉर्म, नंबर का फॉर्म, सब कुछ पता चलेगा. आप पढ़ा रहे हो. Don't think कि play means हम पढ़ा नहीं रहे. It's never like that. But your outcomes, what you're wanting them to achieve, should be realistic and it should be developmentally appropriate. Okay. उसमें गड़बड़ नहीं करना. Then we come to creative and aesthetic development. हाँ, इसमें visual arts मैंने बोला, performing arts बताया मैंने आपको, then is art appreciation, and after that is artists. Who are the artists? Any artist, Indian artist, foreign artist, world renowned artist, Van Gogh, Picasso. So if you actually research on it, if you actually tell the children that whatever you're painting, these people were also painting the same, they have their different techniques, this is something which goes with art appreciation. And it can start in junior KG, not before that. ये नहीं nursery के बच्चे को पढ़ाना शुरू कर दिया, स्मृति मैम ने बोला था, ऐसा नहीं. Junior KG onwards. So visual arts and performing arts is the first thing that will come for the child. Even a child who's 6, 8 months, who's just sitting, you put on the music and they start moving like this, bobbing, bobbing, bobbing. They love it. Performing arts come first. Then comes visual arts. Then comes art appreciation. And last में artist. See, जो skills हैं, उसके भी there are stages, developmental stages. Personal, social, and emotional development. These are the 4 broad skills, 4 broad categories. Self-awareness. Under self-awareness, there will come a lot of stuff. And that is knowing self, similarities and differences, my choice, what do I do, my decisions, everything is mine. So that will come. Then the child will learn to separate himself or herself from others. Then they come to know about the similarities and differences. Then is self-management. That is self-regulation. I can resolve conflicts. I can wait for my turn. I can regulate myself. I know how to behave when a certain emotion takes over. Making and managing relationships, very difficult for children. Always you will need help. And if you do not know, then understand the stages of play here. Very small children, they will just look at you and they will just mime and copy. Usse thode se bade bacche, like if you are going to talk about 12 months to 18 months, they will make them sit near another child. They are just going to be playing with their own toys. They'll not share, they'll not interact. That's parallel play. Okay, so this associative play, this parallel play, then they come to different stages of play until and unless they reach the play stage where this is cooperative play or complex play. So how are they making relationships? How are they managing relationships? All depends on the adults around them. What is their separation anxiety? How well were they treated when they were little babies? How can they trust somebody? All these comes there. Then is responsibility and decision making. There, can I actually take on a responsibility of some other child also? कि आपने एक बड़ी बना दिया, बोला कि अच्छा इसको भी तुम सीखो. Yeah, there's an elder sibling at the home and there's a younger sibling. Can I take that responsibility? Can I make good decisions that you give them a choice and you tell them कि ये करें कि ये करें? कभी पूछा है अपनी क्लास में? You should ask the children. Children, what should we do? Should the teacher do this or should the teacher do that? दोनों में से उनको let them decide. Have both the options which are correct. Another thing is when you're giving the choice to the child, no, do not give the choice that you don't want to give them. It is very harmful for the children's emotional development. Like I know some teachers will think, Chalo, do you want to listen to a story? Now she's all prepared to tell the story. Huh? Teaching aids पढ़े हैं, puppets पढ़े हैं, और हमको तो story सुनानी है, syllabus में है. But हम पूछेंगे, do you want to listen to a story? Now what if the child says, no, I don't want to listen? What will you do? Not tell the story. Nahi na. So these things don't give them a choice. Say, today we are going to listen to a story. But where you can give a choice, do you want this toy or that toy? If it's a free play time, those kind of choices you can give. I tell that to the parents also. कभी ये मत पूछो क्या खाना है, क्या खाना है, मुझे पिज्जा खाना है, बनाओगे? नहीं ना, तो फिर वो चॉइस ही क्यों दे रहे हो? तो वो चॉइस तो जो फीजिबल है, रोटी खानी है कि चावल खाना है, इन दोनों में से मैं एक चीज बनाऊंगी. फ्रूट्स खिलाना है, बोलो एप्पल खाना है कि बनाना खाना है, वो ऐसा चॉइस दो ना जो फीजिबल हो. सो द चाइल्ड कैन डिसाइड. ये छोटे छोटे डिसीजंस बड़े होके बड़े बड़े डिसीजंस लेने के लिए हेल्प करते हैं, राइट?
And it gives the feel good factor also कि
I have made my own choice.
I made my own choice.
Yeah.
And
then
you'll
the
see
children,
they learn standing by their choice.
yeah,
They
and
learn
then
to
they will
stand
do
with-
it.
हाँ. And they'll
Then they-
enjoy the banana. वो वैसे चाहे नहीं खाएं,
हाँ,
but because I've chosen banana, I'll enjoy it.
हाँ, exactly. So एक फ्रूट जो उसको नहीं पसंद है और एक बनाना दे दो और बोलो कि लो बनाना खाना है कि ये गुआवा खाना है. गुआवा नहीं खाना, ठीक, मेरे को बनाना खाना है. अब आप खुद चूज करके ले रहे हो तो बोलो श्योर ना बनाना खाना है, नहीं तो मैं गुआवा काट देती हूँ. नहीं नहीं, मुझे बनाना ही खाना है. आप उसको बनाना खिला दोगे आराम से. Same thing in school lunch time and all also. What do you want the children to eat? Then give them a choice which is feasible. लेकिन most of the mothers and सब लोग कहते हैं आज तुमको क्या खाना है बेटा, मैं मम्मा वही बनाएगी जो तुमको खाना है. अच्छा, तो फिर तो गड़बड़ हो गई भाई, फिर तो बनाना पड़ेगा या तो. And then they will not eat anything else, remember, हाँ? फिर आप बोलोगे बच्चा टैंट्रम थ्रो कर रहा है. भाई शुरुआत तो आपने ही करी थी, तो हम ऐसा बोलेंगे फिर. Who started
There's
it?
there are two questions. One says
Yeah.
that mother teacher concept, but most schools have it till senior KG. After foundational segment, which we're talking about FS foundational structure, new academic structure. What do you suggest? Should there be mother teacher till class 2 or it's okay till senior KG?
There should be mother teacher till class 2, definitely. Because see, some schools also have a provision where the nursery teacher along with her class goes to junior KG. And then she takes them to senior KG. Then even if you're handing over the class to grade 1 teacher, then the grade 1 and the grade 2 teacher should be the same. Matlab grade 1 teacher should only go to grade 2. 2 years the child needs with a particular adult at this stage.
Ma'am, but there's also a concept which says that class 1 and 2 may at least one teacher, let's say the Hindi teacher or the art teacher could be separate. So the child gets used to it, having more than one teacher.
That will always be there. I'm just talking about the mother teacher, that the main teacher of the class. Subject teachers would always be there, and your children will be used to different adults teaching them, even if you involve parents as resource people. You're teaching about a dentist, you have a child whose parent is a dentist, call them in the class for one day. When you're taking your science lesson, let them talk to them about what is a dentist, who is a dentist, and what are they doing. They can learn from different people. They're very adaptable. See, children are adaptable. We are not. That's the problem.
Yeah.
हम एक्सपेरिमेंट करने से डरते हैं, हम किसी को बुलाने से डरते हैं. बच्चे नहीं डरते. बच्चे are very bindas. They are very adaptable. But the point is, are we giving them new experiences? We're not giving them new experiences. But the question of mother teacher, for sure, I have seen a lot of children going to grade 1 after senior KG and losing interest completely in school because of the change of scenario. And grade 1 से ही फॉर्मल स्कूलिंग में सब लोग सोचते हैं कि बस अब बच्चा फॉर्मल स्कूल में आ गया. पेरेंट्स को भी हिदायत दे दी जाती है, ज्यादा कुछ नहीं करना, ज्यादा स्कूल मत आना, हमसे कुछ मत पूछना, all of these. Whereas till the senior KG, the children are, parents are coming to pick their children, drop their children, talking to the teacher. There's a homely atmosphere. But grade 1 में आते इतना कौन सा बड़ा हो गया बच्चा? It's like a matter of 6-8 months. So mother teacher definitely till the foundational stage. What NCF also says. All right. Any other questions till now, or are we clear about domains and skills?
Ma'am, we are clear about domains and skills. I think we're good to go, ma'am.
Good to go. This is a recap. ये पहले वाले lesson plan में मैंने किया था. Last lesson planning में. That lesson plan consists of the following things. You remember? देखा दिखावा सा लग रहा है?
This is a quick recap.
This is a quick recap. Just putting it so that you relate the आगे आने वाला matter and slides to it. These are all the things that each lesson plan consists of. And now understand, for your teaching days, if you have 200 teaching days, 202, 165, 180, 190 teaching days in the entire academic year, you have 6 content areas to develop your lesson plans, right? So in that 6 areas into 200 for each grade. So how many lesson plans are you planning? Only for play school, there would be 160. In that 160, there would be revisions, of course. There would be repetition also. But at least that much. Then for nursery also. And that 2 into 6. So 160 or 200 into 6, 1200. 1200 lesson plans for each grade. And her lesson plan पे ये सब कुछ होना चाहिए. That will be called a good lesson planning or concept planning or content development or curriculum planning, all of those. So when we talk about all of those, these are the lesson plans that you have to develop, because most of the schools in India, dear teachers, are not having a curriculum. We are going by the books. That means that there is a kind of books that are given to us, and according to that, we're making curriculum. There are very few publishers, or there are very few set of books like Madhubun has, which are aligned to NCF and NEP, because they believe in education also, not only selling you the books. So what happens is, when you buy a set of books and you make your activities, you all should have a lesson plan for each activity or each page of the book that you're going to teach them today. Chapter wise. Lesson planning is necessary for the same. Getting it? Questions? No questions. Okay, let's go forward. There is a Mahan Vyakti called Gagne. Now, who's Gagne? I don't know. You'll have to research on your own. अपने आप Google में डालोगे तो मिल जाएगा. What is Gagne doing? What I love about him is his 9 events of instructions. Lesson plan में हमने देख लिया क्या करना है. अभी lesson planning करना कैसे है? How do we do it? So, how do we do it and how do we implement it in class? Is through these 9 instructions. Ready to see it? Ready, steady, go types में. नेक्स्ट सेशन में ये मत बोलना भूल गए. मेरे को तो याद नहीं है. गैगने कौन गैगने? मैं ऐसे आदमी को नहीं जानती. ऐसा नहीं बोलना.
This is homework to find out who's Gagne.
ठीक है? I will never give out everything in my sessions. And you should know by now if you're attending the second or the third one. These are the 9 events of instruction. Events क्यों? Event क्या होता है? What is an event? बस जल्दी बताओ. Quickly. What is an event?
Event. There's teaching. Any random event. मतलब just the word. Series of
अरे
actions.
खाली English word event का मतलब क्या होता है?
Series of action, function or celebrations, interactions, stages, thinking.
Function, celebrations, events होते हैं, right?
9
आपके स्कूल में events
actions.
होते हैं? हाँ.
Process of doing something, situation, celebration, interaction, activity, planning, activity, celebration, a lot of answers. Something that happens, especially something important or unusual. Okay, that's a lot of answers to events. Seminars, levels, plan, program, perform, interaction, organize.
Planned programs. Please state that. Okay. किसने बोला? Planned programs.
Planned programs. Bhavna Thakurani.
Very good, Bhavna. Very good. Planned events. Events are planned events. अभी events are planned events.
Planned programs.
Programs, right. मैंने भी क्या बोल रहा हूँ, मेरे को भी इसीलिए मैंने सोचा ये मैंने क्या बोला. Okay. Planned programs. So that means here there are 9 events. मतलब there are 9 different kind of planning. Yeah. एक lesson plan के लिए 9 different kind of planning करनी पड़ेगी. For 6 developmental domains. Under that there are 58 skills. Oh. बहुत ही ज्यादा हो गया. बहुत ही ज्यादा हो गया भाई. अच्छा सुनो. तो ये events को हम लोग आपको easy करके बताते हैं. So what is the first? Gaining attention. Till the time you do not gain the attention of your children, can you teach them anything? Nope. Yeah? हम कुछ नहीं पढ़ा सकते जब तक उनका attention हमारे ऊपर नहीं है तो. So that is the first event. In that, in your lesson plan, you should always give one activity to the teacher, or if your teachers understand that when you're going to teach teach any lesson or any kind of concept to the children, first gain their attention. So first, ideally, what are you going to plan? How to gain the attention. So through different activities. Or Purana छोड़ दो. Gaining attention through, look at me. What are you doing? See here. Next, sorry, please. I don't want to look at somebody who's shouting like a mad woman. Okay. कोई भी बच्चा नहीं देखना चाहेगा. So stop shouting in your class. Always keep your voice very low. When you're keeping your voice low, children stop whatever they're doing to listen to you. When you're shouting, they get used to your shouting. The first day maybe डर के मारे ऐसे देख लेंगे. Second day बोलेंगे अच्छा आ गई. Third day बोलेंगे ignore. So don't do that. Gaining attention is an art. It's called an event in Gagne's event, 9 events of instructions, because there can be small things that you do. You can just count, clap, snap, tell them, gain their attention in any manner. And softly if you're talking. And softly, if you're singing, that's the best way to gain attention of the children of this age group. Believe me. Okay. Second event that you have to plan for your lesson planning कर रहे हैं ना हम लोग. तो पहला line आ गया कि attention लेना है. So how to do it? So there would be some kind of an activity there. Second आएगा you inform the learners of the objective. उनको बताइए कि आज उनसे क्या expected है. Don't tell them the name of the concept. I'm not telling you that. Remember, there's a difference. Because most of the teachers says, आज हम 1 to 10 करेंगे. आज हम human body के बारे में सीखेंगे. नहीं, don't do that. Don't tell them. That kills their curiosity. Remember curiosity, productivity, initiative. आपको curiosity बनानी है, खराब नहीं करनी है. So आप inform करिए कि today, by the end of the day, or by the end of this period or session, what we are going to do is, we are going to do a worksheet on human body. Now they will say, how will we do it? कौन सा worksheet? कैसा worksheet? क्या है? These are, but you've told them the objective, what you're going to do. So inform them. Second is, like I did with you, recap. That is stimulating the recall of prior learning. जो पहले किया था, उसको please recap करिए, फिर आगे बढ़िए. Then comes आगे बढ़ने का step. That is presenting the stimulus. That means if you're teaching them about birds, okay, or animals, or vehicles, or anything, then you present it in a way that gets them to learn and be very curious कि आज मैं टीचर क्या बताने वाली है. तो आप बोलोगे, कहते मैं आज आ रही थी ना, मैंने एक बहुत कलरफुल सी वर्ड देखी. नहीं, ज्यादा कलरफुल तो नहीं थी, इट वाज ग्रीन इन कलर. हाँ, तो कई बच्चों को पता होगा, तो दे विल से पैरेट. हाँ, लेकिन उसकी तो हाँ राइट यू आर राइट, इट वाज अ पैरेट बिकॉज उसका बीक वाज ना रेड इन कलर. सो आपने एक स्टिमुलस दिया है, बट नॉट द एंटायर थिंग दैट आज हम बर्ड्स के बारे में पढ़ने वाले हैं. So that is, then present the entire thing, then provide learning guidance. That means आपका main concept यहाँ आएगा of the explanation of what you want to teach, how you want to teach will come here. Then you are eliciting performance. It's a big word. That means आप हर बच्चे को help कर रहे हो perform करने के लिए. You are helping each and every child to perform well in this concept and understand it. Then you provide a feedback. जैसे हम फीडबैक फॉर्म भरवाते हैं टीचर्स से ट्रेनिंग के बाद और सब कुछ, आप फीडबैक दीजिए. एंड जैसे आप ये सेशंस का भी फीडबैक दीजिए, हाउ डू यू लाइक इट, व्हाट डू यू लाइक इन दैट. सेम थिंग आप बच्चों को फीडबैक दीजिए, यू डिड दिस थिंग रियली नाइसली, अरे यू आंसर्ड दिस वेरी वेल, एंड नाउ टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू डू दिस आल्सो, टुमारो यू आंसर मी फॉर दिस आल्सो. So give them a feedback, what they did well, what they need to work on. Give them this homework of go research about two new birds and come tomorrow. These kind of things. Then you assess their performance basis what they have done in the class. And after that, you have to enhance the retention. That means एक last में एक recapitulation activity होनी चाहिए, मतलब revision activity होनी चाहिए, so that the children understand it better and they remember it for longer time. And then is transfer. What is transfer? Transfer of knowledge. That means आज जो पढ़ाया था वो घर जाके बताना है, या घर जाके ये particular thing करके कल लेके आना है. That is your knowledge is getting transferred to many places. Okay, and they're applying it. Questions?
None yet, ma'am.
समझा कि सो गए? गैदरिन ने सुला तो नहीं दिया?
Everybody's active on the chat box. They're answering to questions, whatever you are saying, but there are no questions per se.
As such, okay. To make this easier, what I have done is I have distributed these 9 events into different categories for you. Okay? ये देखो ऐसे. पहला स्टेज है प्रिपरेशन. उसमें हम अटेंशन गेन करेंगे, लर्नर्स को ऑब्जेक्टिव्स के बारे में बताएंगे और पुराना नॉलेज के साथ जुड़ जाएंगे. सेकेंड इज इंस्ट्रक्शन इन प्रैक्टिस. दैट मीन्स ये हमारा इंस्ट्रक्टिव टीचिंग फेज आता है. टीचिंग फेज में हम स्टिमुलस प्रेजेंट करते हैं, लर्निंग के लिए गाइडेंस देते हैं, वी ट्राई टू मेक देम परफॉर्म एंड देन वी प्रोवाइड अ फीडबैक. एंड लास्ट स्टेज होगा जिसमें हम असेसमेंट एंड ट्रांसफर ऑफ नॉलेज देखते हैं. ठीक है? where they are going to be recalling, remembering things. Okay. So these are the 3 stages of these 9 events. ये 9 events थे, इसको हमने smaller sections में कर दिया for ease of understanding. आप लोग अब आराम से समझ सकोगे कि ठीक है, lesson plan में हमारे ये 3 segments होने चाहिए. These 3 segments are very important in each lesson plan. All right, let's go ahead. Learning goals. Now, learning goals are different from learning outcomes. Your learning goals are dependent on 3 different domains. Tell me if you're ready for it. Ready for it, yes or no? Jaldi se chat box mein. 6 developmental domains the, learning domains nahi the. Learning domains alag hote hain.
Are you ready?
ये बहुत हो गया.
Ready? Yes, yes, yes.
नेक्स्ट सेशन के लिए भी ले सकते हैं, बहुत ज्यादा हो गया तो नहीं. yes 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 आ गया, ठीक है चलो.
Okay.
So these are the 3 domains are cognitive domain, जो developmental domains में भी था, वो ही learning में help करेगा, intellectual brain development. ठीक है. So that is there. Psychomotor. Psychomotor is everything to do with physical being, physical development. लेकिन ये हम physically develop नहीं कर रहे. Physical development will help in learning. These are learning domains. आपका cognitive development age के appropriately ठीक से रहेगा तो cognitive domain में learning goal set हो सकते हैं. Physical development ठीक हुआ है तो psychomotor domain में learning goals set हो सकते हैं. Same thing with affective domain. Affective domain is socio-emotional, the feelings of the child. So if the child has social emotional development आपने ठीक किया होगा तो affective domain के goals को आप consider कर सकते हो that the child will learn from them. Is it clear or is it confusing? Tell me right now.
Just think about it again. Give it a minute. Maybe we'll repeat it again. This is something very okay. Clear.
क्या बात है. I have beautiful, wonderful.
Because this is typical. This is something very typical.
I know. वही मैं बोल रहा हूँ. इतनी मुश्किल बात इतनी आसानी से समझ गए आप लोग. Very good.
One says, can you please repeat it?
Okay, when somebody said. So understand this thing. I will just show you how. ये देखो. Domains of learning is cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. Now these are 3 domains of learning. अगर developmental domains, जो 6 domains थे, if those have been developed properly, appropriately, if the milestones have been catered to, then आप ये डाल सकते हो. These are called, अगर आपने research भी करना है या कभी देखना है तो देखना CPA. CPA should be your learning goals. That means आपका learning outcome जो है हर एक्टिविटी और हर लेसन प्लान में वो उसमें आपका आएगा ये कॉग्निटिव डोमेन के लिए लर्निंग आउटकम है, उसी लेसन प्लान में ये करेंगे तो अफेक्टिव डोमेन है और ये करेंगे तो साइकोमोटर है. How will that be? You seen the examples here. Your mode of learning for cognitive domain is thoughts and thinking. That when you're telling the children to think, they're learning. And then examples are memorizing, reasoning, conversation when you're doing. Affective domains is emotions and feelings, appreciation, what is the motivation, what is the initiative, what is the productivity. Psychomotor is actions and doing, that is typing, playing, etc. When you're telling them to put the blocks or you're telling them to write. So in case your lesson plan has, after teaching, a worksheet, so it will also have a psychomotor learning outcome. That means the ability to write. That means I'm using my hands, I'm using my body. Okay, so 6 are developmental domains and 3 are learning domains. Learning domains come to play only when the developmental domains are properly looked after.
Ma'am, can we say, like, let's say we have a developmental domain, just as an example, it's the physical domain, right? Physical domain, and uske under, there will be a cognitive domain and the learning domain and an affective learning domain and a psychomotor domain, which will go in my lesson plan.
Right.
So the cognitive will be what I learn, what I think, and for physical development.
For physical development also. Yes.
For physical development, what I think and learn, that cognitive, what I feel about my health and everything, and physical development.
Not only about the health, Himani, what I feel while doing this activity. So, आपने एक activity सपोज अगर हम एक एग्जाम्पल ले लेते हैं, चलो टू मेक इट इजियर. सो मेरा जो लर्निंग एरिया है, डेवलपमेंटल डोमेन है, वो लाइक हिमानी सेड फिजिकल डेवलपमेंट है. ठीक है, अभी फिजिकल डेवलपमेंट आ गया. अब उस फिजिकल डेवलपमेंट में आई हैव टू डू वन पर्टिकुलर दिस थिंग, सपोज एन एक्सरसाइज ऑफ वॉकिंग ऑन zigzag लाइन्स. वो आपने उनको बच्चों को कराना है. They're 3 year old, to for them to follow that path, follow a path or follow an obstacle course and complete the race or complete the path. आपने ये कराना है. Now, when the thought and the thinking process comes in, when the children understand how to follow the path, वो सोच रहे हैं. ठीक है, that is thinking. तो आपका उस लेसन प्लान में, द लेसन प्लान का कॉन्सेप्ट क्या है? वॉकिंग ऑन zigzag line. One learning domain would be the child is able to navigate the space. Navigate the space मतलब spatial understanding, मतलब बच्चा सोच के समझ के उस स्पेस में से निकल के जा सकता है. So, आपका effective domain क्या होगा? The child enjoys walking on the zigzag line. That means उसको कोई stress नहीं है, वो मजे से जा रहा है, या when they are doing it, they are liking it. Okay, and then your psychomotor domain would be what? Actually walking on zigzag line. That is your learning outcome for that, because that is the psychomotor thing, that they are walking. Getting it? So thought process, feelings, and actually doing actions are the 3 domains of learning. Right?
So
बताओ.
all lessons should include all these 3 domains. Yes.
All lesson plans should yes include. Mostly अगर नहीं भी कर पाते हैं, sometimes that if you do not have anything for the children to do at the end of the lesson plan, like they are not building blocks, they are not doing worksheet, they are not doing writing, तो psychomotor नहीं आएगा. If you do not have rhymes, if you do not have somebody getting up from their place or doing some actions, तब नहीं आएगा. But otherwise, अगर suppose you're doing English में rhymes कर रहे हो या हिंदी में rhymes कर रहे हो या जो भी है, so अगर rhymes कर रहे हो तो cognitive तो आएगा ही, because you have to remember the rhyme. तो memory आ गई, brain आ गया. Affective तो आएगा, they're enjoying the rhymes. And psychomotor आएगा if they're doing actions. Getting it? So this
every lesson will include all the 3 learning goals. They must.
They should. अभी बाकी आपके ऊपर है, आप कैसे करते हो. अभी देखो, उसको थोड़ा सा और एक्सप्लेन किया हमने, जो भी हमने एक्सप्लेन किया था आपको उस तरीके से. नॉलेज एंड अंडरस्टैंडिंग, एक टीचिंग शुड ऑलवेज रिजल्ट इन अ लेवल ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग. आपने जो पढ़ाया वो समझ में आना चाहिए. इट शुड नॉट ओनली बी एकेडमिक, इट शुड बी इंटेलेक्चुअल. देखो डिफरेंस है. एकेडमिक मीन्स व्हाट? रीडिंग, राइटिंग, रीडिंग द बुक्स, टेक्स्ट बुक्स, पासिंग एग्जाम्स एकेडमिक है. लेकिन अगर मैंने उसको ब्रेन अप्लाई करके नहीं किया तो वो इंटेलेक्चुअल नहीं है. सो डू थिंक अबाउट इट. एंड नॉलेज शुड बी एट मल्टीपल लेवल्स. एक ही तरीके का नॉलेज नहीं चाहिए. सबसे अच्छा जो येलो वाला मैंने हाईलाइट करके रखा है स्किल्स का, नॉलेज शुड ऑलवेज ट्रांसलेट इनटू स्किल्स. इफ आई लर्न समथिंग टुडे, आई शुड बी एबल टू अप्लाई इट ऑन माय ओन इंडिपेंडेंटली. वो मेरे को कोई स्किल सिखा के जा रहा है. ठीक है, that is what they say. It should exemplify 21st century skills. Then feelings, how the learner felt while learning. आपका learning process कैसा था? The child hated it, was scared, didn't want to do it, was aggressive, reluctant, नहीं मुझे नहीं करना है, yet did they enjoy it? And after accomplishing, did they come to you and say, teacher, I've done it? That I've done it वाली feeling आनी चाहिए after every lesson plan. What was the child's disposition? Disposition means basically the approach to learn. How were they feeling? Are they learning with a positive attitude? Okay, they want to learn more. They want to come to school every day. They want to see you every day. They want to learn more from you. Those are the things. So these are the 3 domains. ये देखो ऐसे. I'll not go too deep into it. बहुत बड़ा research होता है ये. जैसे किसी ने beginning of the session में बोलता है Bloom's taxonomy. Now Bloom's taxonomy is something for cognitive domain only. लेकिन ऐसे ही taxonomy psychomotor domain के लिए भी होता है और affective domain के लिए भी होता है. Let's just quickly go through this. This is Bloom's taxonomy. 6 levels. It starts with only the basic thing is remembering. और हम इंडिया में ना maximum जो thought process और efforts है ना, वो सिर्फ फर्स्ट स्टेज को देते हैं, रिमेम्बरिंग. ना हम खुद आगे बढ़ते ना बच्चे को आगे बढ़ने देते ऑन द सेकेंड स्टेज ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग, देन अप्लाइंग द नॉलेज, देन एनालाइजिंग कि हमने क्या ठीक किया और क्या गलत किया और इसको कैसे दूसरे तरीके से कर सकते हैं, देन इवैल्यूएटिंग आवरसेल्व्स कि जो किया वो ठीक भी किया कि नहीं किया, क्या किसी और तरीके से करें या करे ही ना. And then is creating means new understanding of a thing, creating something new like the scientists do. When they understand, they educate themselves, then they create something. So always focus on this. But these are only the cognitive domain ke 6 stages. Then these are Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which will affect the affective domain. Why affective domain? Because अगर मेरे physiological, psychological मत पढ़ना last वाला जो सबसे first नीचे red में है, physiological, that means मेरे physique को ले, मेरे body को लेके. अगर मेरे को पानी कम मिला है, I've not drank enough water, if I've not eaten well, if I've not slept well, I'll not listen to my teacher and I'll not learn anything. So physiological needs first, then safety needs कि I'm secured in this environment. मैं कोई इस environment में कोई threat तो नहीं है, कोई मुझे मारेगा तो नहीं, कोई punish तो नहीं करेगा, I'm safe here, मेरे साथ कुछ गलत तो नहीं होगा. That way the child has to be safe. Then is love and belonging. Then comes self-esteem. And then comes self-actualization, that they want to become, that I can do so much, I can be the best. That the feeling of that I want to be the best and I want to show you, this comes in. These are the affective domain ke stages. So cognitive domain ke stages, Bloom's taxonomy. Affective domain ke stages, Maslow's hierarchy. Okay. This is the Elizabeth Simpson's taxonomy for psychomotor domain. That is सबसे पहले है perception, I perceive through my senses. Second is set, that means I am ready to take some actions. Then you guide them, and that is a guided response through trial and error, cause and effect. Then mechanism comes in, then response is there. So you're seeing how it develops. These are all how you do the complex response. Then they adapt it. That okay, fine, I can do this. Have you seen children with frisbees and balls and all? वो कि तो बॉल को दूसरे तरीके से घुमा के फेंकेंगे. हम ये भी कर सकते हैं. I can make this bowling कर सकते हैं. Pins roll over हो जाएंगे. I'm adapting it into a modified thing, and then I will create something original. Now ये original से ना parents and teachers they are very scared. I don't know why. जैसी बच्चा कुछ न्यू गेम, कोई न्यू एक्शन, कोई न्यू थिंग इन्वेंट करता है और अपने आप करना चाहता है, उसको हम नहीं करने देते हैं. सो डोंट स्टॉप देम. दीज आर द स्टेजेस ऑफ साइकोमोटर डोमेन ऑफ लर्निंग. ये सब डोमेन्स ऑफ लर्निंग थे. आपने पहले स्किल्स देखा डेवलपमेंटल डोमेन्स के. दीज आर डोमेन्स ऑफ लर्निंग. और आप लर्निंग आउटकम्स के बेस पे लेसन प्लान बनाने वाले हो ना. सो दीज आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ओके. This is another one for psychomotor. Dave had done this. Imitation se start hota hai, your actions and everything that we imitate the parents. The parents will do, child will also do. The parent will laugh, the child will laugh. वहां से start hota hai when there is little babies, toddlers, babblings. And then वो मैनिपुलेट करते हैं अपने एक्शंस को कि हाँ मैं अगर ऐसे रोल करके बैठूंगा तो बैठ जाऊंगा, पुल करके किसी चीज को खड़े होते हैं तो खड़े हो जाते हैं. सो वहां से स्टार्ट होके फिर उसको प्रिसिशन पे लेके आते हैं. That okay, I can do it very well. Then articulation, and then becomes a natural thing. Now today, if you're walking, तो उसमें क्या देख देख के चलते हैं? नहीं ना, वो natural हो जाता है फिर. वो that action has become natural to you. These are the things that you should keep in mind. Developmentally appropriate मेरे पास हमेशा number 1 पे रहेगा. No writing in nursery वाला. ठीक है? So that is the first thing. Then play based and project based, ये सब चीजें आपको ध्यान में रखनी है whenever you are making your lesson plans. Let's go to the next one. Always remember, पिछली बार मैंने भूखा दिया था. Volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous world. उसके लिए हम बच्चों को प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं भूखा वर्ल्ड के लिए. लेकिन आप ये याद रखिए कि आपकी क्लास में वाक है, VARK, वार्क. So all the children learn differently. आपकी क्लास में कुछ विजुअल लर्नर्स होंगे, कुछ ऑडिटरी लर्नर्स होंगे, कोई रीडर्स होंगे और कोई काइनेस्थेटिक लर्नर्स होंगे. सो जो बच्चा सारी क्लास में घूम रहा होगा सारी जगह पे, जब आप पीटीएम में पेरेंट्स से बात करेंगे तो आपको पता चलेगा कि उसको सब कुछ पता था. That you were thinking that their child is not paying attention, but actually that child was paying attention by moving around, because movement is a necessity for the child. वो एक जगह पे बैठ के नहीं पढ़ सकता. Right? So these are different learners. Your lesson plan should cater to all different learners. That means उसमें options होने चाहिए. So आपके 3 portions थे. Suppose attention seeking वाला जो है वो kinesthetic learners के लिए. Okay. Presenting a stimulus आपका visual learners के लिए, कि मैंने एक पीपीटी दिखाई या मैंने कुछ दिखाया उनको, टीचिंग एड्स दिखाया, फ्लैश कार्ड्स दिखाया, वो विजुअल ने सीखा. फिर आप कुछ इंस्ट्रक्शंस दे रहे हो, वो ऑडिटरी लर्नर्स के लिए है. और लास्ट में कुछ वर्कशीट है या समथिंग दैट द चिल्ड्रन हैव टू डू, वो रीडर्स के लिए है. So different kind of learners. Your lesson plan should cater to the walk and also to the 9 intelligences of Howard Gardner. Okay. All these are the 9 intelligences. I'm not going into this. इसके लिए अलग lesson लगेगा.
We'll do another session.
हाँ, इसके लिए अलग session लगेगा. ये देखो बहुत बड़ा है. It is huge. Every philosopher is huge in itself. ठीक है. So उनके एक एक philosophy पे अगर हम जाएंगे तो बहुत time लग जाएगा. Theme concepts ऐसे बनाओ. Just an example. Sorry. If you have to make your weekly plans, ऐसे पहले बनाओ. पहले ऐसे web में बनाओ. What all will you teach a child? Suppose it's a nursery child or it's a junior KG child. और हम उनको plants के बारे में पढ़ा रहे हैं, तो हम trees के बारे में पढ़ाते हैं. Trees में ही jobs आ जाएंगे. What are the issues that is happening in the world? Trees को what do they need to grow? Their life cycle, types of plants, parts of plants, seasons, कौन से tree, कौन से flowers और कौन से plants और कौन से fruits कौन से season में आते हैं, products that we get from trees, and homes of what? Which all animal lives on trees and everything. See, कितने सारे concepts cover हो गए एक ही theme में, right? और अब आपको इस सब चीजों के लिए जो आपने लिखा है उसके लिए एक एक लेसन प्लान बनाना पड़ेगा, कीपिंग इन माइंड द डेवलपमेंटल डोमेन्स एंड द लर्निंग डोमेन्स. राइट? सो कैन आई मूव अहेड? यू वांट टू टेक अ पिक्चर ऑफ दिस? वैसे ये है गूगल इमेज में, मैंने भी गूगल इमेज से लिया, मैंने बनाया ही नहीं. सो यू कैन टेक इट. हम बोलते ना, अगर हमारे पास गूगल बाबा है तो हमारे को सब कुछ पता है, और अब तो चैट जीपीटी भी आ गया, वो सब कुछ लिख भी देता है, तो काम करने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. Don't worry, early childhood educators always have to work. उनके आंसर्स किसी के पास नहीं है, हमें सीख के करना पड़ता है.
And they're never standard.
They're never standard. क्योंकि अब जितना देखोगे उतना अलग अलग आएगा. So then you will get confused. So don't work it. चलो आ जाओ, अब एक एक्टिविटी हो जाए. आज टाइम है हमारे पास हिमानी?
नहीं मैम, we'll wind up.
अयो, जब भी मेरी एक्टिविटी का टाइम आता है ना, then the next time I'm going to start with an activity only.
Yes, we'll start with an activity next time.
ये याद रखना, ये वाला डायग्राम, और देखो ये वाली बुक भी मैं तुम लोगों के लिए लेके आए थे. इसके बेसिस पे हम लोगों को कुछ लेसन प्लान बनाने थे. तो ये नेक्स्ट टाइम वी आर गोइंग टू डू द, आई एम गोइंग टू टेल यू अ स्टोरी. विल स्टार्ट विद दैट. हां,
We'll start with that.
नेक्स्ट टाइम विल स्टार्ट विद अ स्टोरी, देन वी विल डू ऑल ऑफ दिस. ये क्या क्या गंदे गंदे एब्रिविएशंस है, ये सब आई टेल यू. वंस यू नो अबाउट इट, दे यू विल लव देम. अभी नहीं पता है ना, जो भी चीज हमें नहीं पता होती है हमें वो खराब ही लगती है. But they are beautiful abbreviations. We'll learn all about that and the story. And ये देखो मेरे पास कितनी सारी activities थे.
And then we'll do one session only on activities.
हाँ, and these like a progression of activities.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
do
do.
अच्छा, these are the this ये आप sheet please सब लोग everybody can download from their Google बाबा images हैं. Bloom's verbs. For your learning outcomes, always use the Bloom's verbs as a beginning that identifies colors. Okay, recalls. What is the understanding, applying of knowledge, analyzing, evaluating, and creating के लिए अलग-अलग verbs हैं. What stage the child is in? What stage, what grade are you planning the learning outcomes for? All of this will come under this. So next time हम activities करेंगे. मेरी एक्टिविटीज ना हिमानी हमेशा कैंसिल कर देती है, which is not.
Kriti ma'am, next time we'll do only a session on activities, lesson plans पे, multiple intelligences पे, blooms पे, ऐसा करके अलग-अलग activities ही plan करते हैं.
लेकिन next time I'm going to start with a storytelling first. पहले
Done,
मुझे
done.
story सुनानी है, उस story पे based ये लोग सब they were all going to write a lesson plan के learning objectives and everything, and then we will begin.
Done, done. Absolutely.
So next time if you're going to come to this session, be prepared. I'm going to make you work. But story भी सुनने को मिलेगी. This is also a good thing, and it's a
I'm
lovely
sure we
story.
all look forward to your session. Splendid session, nice session. They have been flooding my chat box with it.
Yeah. कोई मेरे को तो फीडबैक भेजता नहीं है, मुझे पता ही नहीं चलता अच्छा लगा नहीं लगा, सब हिमानी को भेज देते हैं क्योंकि उनको सर्टिफिकेट्स चाहिए होते हैं. आई एम नॉट गिविंग एनीथिंग, तो मुझे कोई कुछ नहीं भेजता.
इस बारी के feedbacks जो आएंगे, I'll make sure we'll send you the forms.
So sweet. Thank you, Mani. Just kidding. Okay. So all I want you people to do is that teachers, be confident about your knowledge. Learn more, ask more. There's no harm in asking. Keep learning. I'm also learning. Do you think I don't have a mentor? I also have a mentor. I also research. I also follow so many things. Yeah. That is why I can come up with new things for you people also. So keep learning, keep growing. And please always keep the child in the mind. First and foremost, look after the children. And जैसे आपने बोला कि वो कर तो लेता है, ऐसे कर तो लेता है नहीं. First, understand what the child needs and then do it. Okay?
Oh, great.
So all the best to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, educators. The feedback form link I have shared. And on the WhatsApp group, I'll share it on Monday. Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good evening and enjoy the weekend.
All the best.